and welcome to Pagan FM. We're coming to you from South Jersey, the home of the Jersey Devil, and just outside of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. What we just heard was Edith Peugeot playing Domenico Scarlatti's Sonata K67. Last week, I had the pleasure to attend a concert by this young French guitarist. I mispronounced her name when I said that I was going to hear her, but I apologize for that. Hearing her in person was a brilliant experience. She is, as John Sidney McNair once said of S.J. Tucker, ridiculously talented. And if you get a chance to hear her, I recommend you do. Today, once again, I am pre-recording, partly because we're in the middle of a major winter storm watch. And the storm begins this evening. Again, it's a major storm. Power outages, internet outages, and the like are expected. So rather than taking chances, I'm recording while I can. As I'm writing this, it's Martin Luther King Day, or at least it was Monday when I wrote this segment. And for the first time in decades, our president had not, by that point, issued any sort of proclamation regarding the memory of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Rather, he had been whining again about not being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize, and he's been threatening world peace, indeed coming close to threatening the entirety of NATO, and placing the world very near the edge of another world war because of his desire for imperialism. And it seems very much up to the citizens of our country and our legislature to put a stop to it. In another bit of news, in Philadelphia, he's been instructing the Park Service to take down any references to slavery that were happening at George Washington's home and places like that. So all of those references and memorials are being torn down because, of course, you can't reference those at our nation's 250th anniversary celebrations. At the same time, he's threatening our citizens with military force and stating that oppositions to his use of force in our cities is some sort of terrorism. Just today, another person was killed in Minneapolis. He and his appointees in office are literally saying that opposition to fascism, opposition to his brand of Christianity, opposition to his views regarding gender, these things are forms of terrorism. He's literally declaring war against most of the country and much of the planet at this point, if not yet overtly, certainly approaching it. When it comes to Greenland, when it comes to the people of this country, whether immigrant, the indigenous population, LGBTQIA, those aligned against fascism, my allegiance is firmly against the current president. Should he decide to amend his ways, to stand with people who aren't bigots, should he again align with people of love, of tolerance, and peace, I'll be at his table. But I don't think that will happen. He is a person of a wounded spirit, and I don't think it will be remedied in this lifetime. And sadly, he's gathered many around him who have similar wounds, and they too will need to answer for what they've done with this life. Anyway, we do have a new artist in the library this week, and we'll welcome Dost. I first heard of them when I interviewed the Sufi Imam Salim Chishti, and he recommended their music to me to accompany part of an interview I did with him back in the early days of Pagan FM, and I've been a follower of their music since. So anyway, let's hear a little bit of music from them and from Blackmore's Night, and then we'll get on with the show again.
made her poor heart dance, thinking of a lost romance long ago. Feeling lonely, feeling sad, she cried in the moonlight, driven by a world gone mad, she took flight. Feel no sorrow, feel no pain, feel no hurt, there's nothing gained, only love will then remain, she would stay. Through the darkened fields entranced, music made her poor heart dance, thinking of a lost romance long ago. Somewhere just beyond the mist, spirits were seen flying, as the lightning led her way through the dark. In the shadow of the moon, she danced in the starlight, whispering a haunting tune to the night. Shadow of the moon, shadow of the moon, shadow of the moon, shadow Last night, last night, in a dream, last night in a dream, in a side street of love, in a dream. Last night, last night in a dream, in a side street of love, I saw appear he gestured to me with his hand to come near, come near. Last night.
side street of love I saw appear. He gestured to me with his hand to come near. He said, he said, he said there is a dragon on the path. There is a dragon on the path. He said there is a dragon on the path. Love is like a shiny emerald. There is a dragon on the path. There is a dragon on the path. Oh, there is a dragon on the path. Love is like a shiny with the radiance and the purity of this emerald. You can defeat the dragon. With the radiance and the purity of this emerald. You can defeat the dragon. myself. I have gone beyond myself.
I've gone beyond myself.
It is your turn now. It is your history of the sages. Awaken yourself to the wisdom of the ages. Awaken yourself. It is your turn
All right, we just heard Who Dost with It's Your Turn Now from their album In an Eastern Rose Garden, and before that, we heard Blackmore's Night with Shadow of the Moon from the 25th anniversary album Shadow of the Moon. And looking at local weather, because that's what's on the mind of everyone in South Jersey right now, and pretty much most of the country. We're in the middle of a major winter storm that will go on through Monday. Here in the Philadelphia area, we can expect from about 8 to 13 inches of snow with another 0.3 of an inch of ice on top. If you don't need to go out, please don't. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill has issued a state of emergency beginning Saturday night at 5 p.m. As I'm recording this, it is 6 p.m. right now. I'm trying to get this done while we still have electricity and internet. And lasting through Monday at 1 p.m., though this may change as the storm evolves. Snow and freezing rain are expected to end around 10 a.m. on Monday. Many local churches have already canceled services on Sunday, and due to the storm, there are road restrictions going in place here in New Jersey, and that will include restrictions on, well, they're saying it is commercial vehicle restrictions, but this also applies to all tractor trailers. Exceptions are going to be listed in an administrative order. So the exceptions will include essential vehicles, so things carrying medical supplies, salt, and things like that. But any empty, straight CDL weighted trucks, passenger vehicles pulling trailers, recreational vehicles, motorcycles, not going to be able to be on the road. And this includes Route 76, the entire length, Route 78, Route 80, Route 195, Route 280, Route 287, Route 295, I-676, New Jersey Route 440 in both directions from the Outer Bridge crossing to I-287. There are speed restrictions on the New Jersey Turnpike, the Atlantic City Expressway. But really, if you don't need to be out, don't go out. Also, there are going to be services curtailed for New Jersey Transit. So if you are out, get home and stay there, because this is about the worst. It is the worst storm since I've been here, and it's pretty much the worst storm in recent memory for anyone in New Jersey. They're also saying try to have food and water and whatever you need at home so that you don't need to go out. Anyway, further up, Monday night we can expect it to be partly cloudy with low around 6. Tuesday night, sunny with a high around 19, dropping to the single digits Tuesday night. On Wednesday, highs will approach the mid-20s, and this will be the pattern throughout the week, with temperatures not hitting freezing and turning to single digits at night. Anyway, regarding opening comments, I've been thinking of late about the rule of 3. It's something that we got a hint of in Gerald Gardner's book, High Magic's Aid, and I'll be talking about that book in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, in February. Again, I think that the classics are worth looking at, and the idea was made a bit more popular by Raymond Buckland. Some people have suggested that it smacks a bit of Christian philosophy, but in Christendom we hear more of as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Never was there a ×3 deal attached. And with the whole idea of karma, you can't say the idea is uniquely Christian. Indeed, What you sow, so you reap. An eye for an eye sort of moral philosophy. This is something that really predates Christianity or Judaism. And I think it's kind of a human sort of thing. It really comes down to fairness. It comes down to the whole idea of fair trade, which goes, I dare say, even beyond human ideals, and to pretty much any creature that has consciousness. I think there is such a thing as karma. I think that what we put out comes back to us, not by any cosmic rule of three, not necessarily a tit-for-tat cosmic bookkeeping way, but I do think that we're here to learn lessons. If we are, we're not going to get anywhere until those lessons are learned. Say you want to learn how to ride a horse. You aren't going to get better at it by beating up the horse if it doesn't do what you want. If you want to be a better driver, you aren't going to get there by kicking the fenders of a car every time you crash. Being mean, being angry doesn't help you. And in learning to get along with people, and learning to improve yourself spiritually, learning the lessons that improve us spiritually, which is the ultimate goal of gifted beings over multiple lifetimes, isn't going to happen by being angry, awful people in any given lifetime. And when I think of this, I wonder, or I have to wonder, about things that go deeper, about fairness on a cosmic level. Sometimes I wonder if there really are gods or goddesses or beings who hear us. Do they really? I admit I pray. Where I live in South Jersey, there are helicopters that pass overhead a few times a day for Cooper, for Jefferson, or some other hospital's medical service. And I know that there's someone on that helicopter likely having one of the worst days of their life. And there are likely family who are in a similar state of mind, knowing that their loved one is taking a life flight because an ambulance is going to be too slow. Sometimes I'll follow that flight using flight tracking software, and I can tell what level of trauma facility they might be going to. And I'll hold that person in the light. I'll send love and light to them. And I don't know what god or goddess might hear those prayers. I might address a particular one. I don't necessarily know that they'll intercede, but I kind of think that the more people who are focused, the more people who are in agreement, the more people who care, the more directed energy that person might receive, maybe there will be some more positive effect. Even if I know nothing about them other than the fact that they are there, it might help just a bit. So why do I bring this up now? Partly it's because of the state of our country right now. I think that we really need some people focused on good outcomes, people focused on the safety of protesters, people focused on those in Congress who need to make good decisions, people focused on other world leaders standing up for what's right, people focusing on good decisions regarding the World Cup, on the Olympics, and on each of us standing up for each other in the inevitable difficulties, in the inevitable times, that are about to hit us. Things are going to become expensive as Trump enacts more and more tariffs. I just heard that he's planning on 100% tariff on things coming from Canada because he's upset they're making a deal with China. We, as a country, may well soon be standing alone. I can see sanctions. I can see other countries ceasing to do trade with us, ceasing to lend us money, ceasing to sell us goods or services. If other countries treat us the way we've treated and are treating them, refusing to sell us semiconductors, for example, or vegetables or oil, whatever, we will be well and truly screwed. But this is a game that the current president seems willing to play while being oblivious to the possible consequences. He seems to think that as a nation, we can do whatever we want on the world stage without any possible consequences. His ignorance and hubris, and the ignorance and hubris of his enablers, may well cost us all. I seriously recommend that we all prepare as our grandparents and possibly great-grandparents once did just a few generations ago. Have some seeds ready. Be ready to plant some gardens. Have some food stores ready. Learn some canning skills. Learn to bake. Learn to cook. Learn to harvest seeds and grow food from seeds. Learn to grow high-calorie foods. Learn what are essential foods. Learn to live off-grid if you can. But beyond the physical, we all need to care for our spirits. I don't know what's going to happen as things keep playing out. I do know that the Trump administration plans on clamping down on media that goes against the administration. They've said as much. They've managed to shut down the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They brought down CBS, turning it into a right-wing mouthpiece. They're filing lawsuits against any media corporation they can that is critical of Trump, ICE, and others. They're bringing charges against a reporter who went into a church to protest against an ICE officer who's also the pastor, apparently claiming some sort of collusion or conspiracy. They've threatened lawsuits against anyone who reports that the killing of Renee Good was a murder. And at the very least, it's a homicide, and the government will not permit the state of Minnesota to have evidence to actually investigate the incident. And they're considering bringing up the governor on charges for interfering in their military takeover of the state. I don't know what will happen to programs like PaganFM if I keep speaking out against what this president is doing, even though I've only been doing the program for a short while. But I'm going to continue. And if Podbean shuts me down, there are other means to continue. So I won't go completely away. I'll just have to figure out a way to share it with you all. Perhaps in the coming weeks, I'll figure that out so that there's an alternate mechanism in case I appear to go dark. Maybe I'll go on the dark web. In any case, I think that there are plenty of people on the same wavelength, as it were, and we can accomplish a great deal. If we work together, even on a spiritual level, we aren't alone. When I moved to the Philadelphia area, I noticed that there's a great deal of pride in the Philadelphia area sports teams. Many people wear Eagles hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and the like. And it's not just the Eagles, but the Phillies too, and other teams. And the phrase "Go Birds" is as popular a way of saying hello as is hello. But more than that, people from this area will wear this geographic attire when they travel because they'll meet others from the area. And there's this instant camaraderie that I've not seen in other parts of the country. If you're traveling and you hear someone say "Go Birds" when you're outside of the Philly area, you instantly know that you're among friends. And I can't think of a similar phrase for Boston or any other part of the country. It's very much the same for us pagans. We have similar signs. If I see a triple moon tattoo, the tree of life, the pentacle, or some other symbol, I'm generally reassured that I'm among friends. It's the same with a rainbow or a trans flag. But sadly not so much with the U.S. flag, and certainly not with a combination of a U.S. and a Confederate flag. Connecting with people who have the same sense of eternity matters. There's a synergy. We're able to build things together. We can work together more easily. We can raise energy together. We can create sacred space together. And we can change the world together. Next week, I plan on doing a ritual for change, but this week I'll start working on the fundamentals of that ritual. I'll talk about it in a few. If you want to work with me on that, let's do so. It doesn't have to happen at the exact same time to be powerful. Intent can build on intent. Effort builds on effort. Effect builds on effect. Let's hear a little more music.
Isn't it crazy, isn't it cruel, that a man can earn millions from kicking the ball, while for other countries we roll the dice for a little clean water and a bowl of rice. Politicians' empty promises help lessen our pain. It's only human. Isn't it wonderful, isn't it right? There's nothing as worthless as an animal's life, but it helps me feel better when I feel ill. I can't taste the pain in this little pill. 1,000 lives given to live just a few more years. It's only human. Tear down a forest for grass that won't grow, to help melt the ice caps, to help melt the snow. We'll watch the seas rise with nowhere to go. And it's only human. Isn't it holy, isn't it good, that people kill people in the name of their God? A bomb for a father, a bullet for a son, and a smile for a child that carries a gun. Only one God can be right when all's said and done. It's only human. It's only human. It's only human.
All right, we just heard Rumors from Tellergy off the album The Legend of Goody Cole. So Goody Cole was a woman from Hampton, New Hampshire, who was accused of witchcraft during the witch trials in the 1600s in New Hampshire. And I guess it kind of saddens me to know that one of my ancestors was actually part of that. His name was Robert Payne, and he was foreman of the jury during the Salem witch trials. And he was a congregational minister, kind of a hardcore person, and he was chosen for the jury during those trials. And that's part of a sadder part of my family history. So before that, we heard Only Human by Dave the Bard off of his album Cauldron Born. Tonight, in our Practical Pagan segment, I want to talk a bit about the moon. Again, I was writing this on January 20th. I tend to write in stages, so sometimes I lose a little bit of continuity. I work full-time, so I can't sit and write for a full day at a time. So I'm kind of writing in fits and starts. But anyway, I want to talk about the moon. And as I left work one day this week, there was this occulted waxing crescent moon kind of low above this gorgeous magenta horizon. And it reminded me of a talk that I once had with my mother. She was around 80 years old at the time and had been suffering from Parkinson's disease. And for the first time, she had really looked at an occulted moon. And she called me and asked me why there was a moon in the moon. And so I went to visit her. And I explained the basic mechanics of an occulted moon. And if you don't know what that is, an occulted moon occurs near the time of the new moon. It's when you can see this waxing crescent, a little bit of a fingernail of the moon. And at this time, the sun and moon are kind of near each other in the sky, kind of low on the horizon. And it occurs near dawn or dusk. And the light from the sun reflects off the surface of the earth. And it illuminates the part of the moon that you don't normally see directly illuminated by the sun. And thus we're able to see both a brightly illuminated portion while the remaining portion is more dimly lit. Thus, as my mother put it on that day, there was a moon in the moon. And in having that experience, my mother had, in a sense, an initiatory experience. Next week, we're going to be discussing the concept of initiation in something of a deeper fashion. But for now, I want to talk about this little form of initiation. There are many little initiations that we go through in our lives. And the one that my mom experienced was a surprise to me because it was something she hadn't experienced in her 80 years of living. She grew up in a very conservative Catholic family, not looking for more than what the Catholic Church had to offer. I grew up in my mom's home. Because of that, a very conservative Catholic family. But I wasn't my mom. My mom had intended to become a Catholic nun, much like a second cousin of hers who founded a Catholic order of nuns in Canada. That nun, Mother Catherine Aurelia Coët, was something of a mystic, but she was not given proper tutelage herself. Her spiritual formation in the Catholic Church was left, in my mind, somewhat undirected. And there is a problem when mysticism or occultism isn't properly trained, especially when an individual may have some real talent or may have had some experience in prior lives. For someone who's relatively new on the path, who may have not been an adept in a prior life, who might not be close to being an initiate, the danger of an unguided tuition may be minimal. But in the case of someone like that relative of mine, I believe she was a second or third cousin, We're talking about a woman who, if the stories are true, was capable of bilocation and other metaphysical feats. And this is according to published accounts in Catholic literature, and accounts leading up to her being considered venerable by the church, basically a step below being a saint at this point. The problem I have with my relative was her views regarding suffering, in which she believed that personal suffering was efficacious for the conversion of sinners, to the point where she would, when suffering, pray for more suffering. She would also injure herself just to suffer. She thought that she could share in the suffering of Christ. This isn't a valid Christian position, nor is it a valid occult or metaphysical principle. What it is poor formation, it's poor tutelage, it's improper instruction, it's someone on the path of initiation left to their own devices because they could not find a suitable teacher. But that can be a common thing in the Catholic Church, which looks down on metaphysics and thinks that the Holy Spirit can instruct without need for any human guidance. One of the things that we need to be cautious about when we start working on other planes is the idea of discerning between things that are there to help us and those that are there to deceive. It's naive to believe that any being we might contact is a spirit guide who is there to assist in our progress. Certainly there are those who might be there for that purpose. But just as real, may there be those who are there to hinder our progress for their own purposes. And that is where some solid guidance and discernment are worthwhile. That is where I feel that my own relative was failed by the church, along with many others. Going back to Dion Fortune, who I feel was a very skilled occultist, she believed that a well-rounded education in mathematics and science and the classics were extraordinarily helpful foundations for metaphysical study. Without a good understanding of the natural world, an understanding of metaphysics has much less practical use. Likewise, when it came to my mother, she didn't have the benefit of a good education, nor did my dad, who himself wasn't able to calm her fears. What they saw was something they didn't understand. They were overwhelmed by something they couldn't comprehend. And while I had the opportunity to explain it to them, because of the Catholic upbringing they experienced, I couldn't go further than to simply calm their fears. I couldn't explain to them how the numinous feelings they experienced had touched so many people before them. I couldn't talk to them about how the moon had impacted so many generations of lives. I couldn't talk to them about the mystical, psychological, physiological, geological, gravitational, and astrological aspects of the moon and how it all impacts our lives on a day-to-day basis. The struggle to divest the moon's impact on our lives is ongoing. For decades, if not longer, some in science have been seeking to prove that the moon doesn't have an impact on human health or cycles. And admittedly, with birth control pills, with agriculture becoming more mechanized, and with our culture becoming more sun-oriented, it might seem that the moon's influence on our lives, outside of shipping and tides, is somewhat waning. But as recently as of September 2025, in an article on Science Advances, it was shown that lunar cycles have a measurable effect on women's menstrual cycles, especially during periods of stronger gravitational effect. And if this is the case, while the study didn't specifically look into this, it's quite possible that the moon could also have some sort of effect on male psychology as well. The moon has an effect. Certainly it has effects that are exoteric in nature. Some might argue that esoteric effects are fantasy, and that all that matters is the exoteric, or the measurable, the scientifically provable, the falsifiable. On the other hand, the esotericist might point out that simply because a thing is not yet understood, or not yet able to be demonstrated or falsified, it's not an indication that it won't be able to be proved or disproved in the future. After all, gravitational waves predicted by Einstein in 1915 were only detected by LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, some 80 years later. But the effect The effects that we experience from the moon go beyond the mere physical effects we experience from gravity and light, and beyond the numinous experience that we might experience when we might be surprised, as was my mother some years ago, when we notice something we hadn't before. I tend to believe that part of the power of belief comes from the compound effect of the number of beings who share in that belief, who share in that reverence, in that intention. As I was mentioning a few minutes ago, intent, effort, and effect build on each other. The moon has been an object of devotion for millennia. As such, and as many sacred spaces on Earth, it has become a sacred object. It is likely the most revered sacred object in the history of human devotion. I don't know how many of you have had the experience of going into a sacred place and recognizing the feeling of connection, the recognition that you are entering a space that has been shared as sacred by generations of people before you. It might be a church, or a natural place, or a place like Stonehenge, or if you've had the opportunity to visit New Hampshire in the United States, a lovely place called the Cathedral of the Pines. There are many places where we have the opportunity to be in union and communion, not only contemporaneously with those around us, but with those of generations past. What we have when we worship under the moon, especially in a place where we can gather, where we are among those who have gathered before us, is that connection that exists throughout the ages and across many different faith traditions. We can connect because we are connected. We have the support of those around us and our ancestors. As far as we understand the formation of the Earth and our moon, the moon formed about 4.25 billion years ago, meaning that in our moon, we have energy that is nearly as timeless as the Earth. So when we look to the moon, when we remember the lunar deities, Hecate, Selene, Artemis, Diana, Ceridwen, or even Thoth, we recognize that we are standing with those who have been honoring and looking to the moon for as long as humans have had some sense of the numinous, some sense of deity. And we join our energy with theirs in our work. And when we do so, and future generations come after us, our energy will be added likewise to theirs. So we'll do a little bit more music, or hear from a few more people. And this week's going to be a little bit different because I'm doing 2 reviews. One will be Llewellyn's Complete Book of the Moon by Jessamine Angelica. And I had a chance to see a movie this week. It's the first movie that I've been to since I moved to South Jersey. And that was a testament of Ann Lee. So I'm going to be talking about both of these. So I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Secret womb of night, you can set your mind walking. Hear the taloned ones take flight. Hear the darkened world talking. Fighters turn, the lovers twine. Bloody claw, tongue lapping. Changing thoughts of open minds. The soaring wing now flapping. The circle casts, the dream is sound. Yet even hand in hand, sometimes we face the night alone. And from in our darkness, light will ground. Put your ear to her, the night might even whisper up her secret. we all need some rest, don't we? A little space of brief respite, that we be not so sad and lonely. The circle cast, the dream is sound, yet even hand in hand, sometimes we face the night alone. And from in our darkness, light will grow. Put your ear to her, the night might even whisper up her secret. In the secret womb of night sleeps the seed of all beginnings, the mind that sets the dream alight, sets its universe a-spinning. Mother, I hear your ancient cry, and we all need release, don't we? From our solitary fight. So let me touch the dream, let me touch the blossoming night. Circle cast, the dream is sound, yet even hand in hand, sometimes we face the night alone. And from in our darkness, light will grow. Put your ear to her, the night might even whisper up her secret.
So in tonight's first review, we're looking at Llewellyn's Complete Book of the Moon by Jessamine Angelica. Obviously, from its title, this is a big book at 378 pages, including of a fairly extensive bibliography. It is quite a large work, and it touches on a great many topics. A look at its chapter listing includes the power of the moon, the phases of the moon, the zodiac, the shadow side aligning with the moon and magic, the lunar magical allies, crafting by the moon, lunar herbalism, lunar potions, the lunar goddesses, moon magic, and lunar rites. Chakras in the moon, divination, dreaming, and healing. There are few, if any, topics that aren't covered in this book. If anyone wants a good overview of the moon in a pagan perspective, if you wish to discover a way to use the moon in your ritual practice, Llewellyn's Complete Book of the Moon will likely have something within its pages to spark your interest. If I were to have any problems with this book, there would be two. Firstly, while the information is broad, it is lacking just a bit in depth. I suppose I can forgive that because were one to explore much deeper, the book would be obviously much larger. I'm reminded of Sir James George Fraser and his work, The Golden Bow, the abridged edition of which was about 800 pages, and the unabridged version of which was published in 12 volumes. Being an academic work, this took Fraser decades to complete. And I'm not going to fault either Llewellyn as a publisher or Angelica as an author for not attempting to be as academically thorough and rigorous as was Fraser. That being said, if I were to compare this to a college-level course of study, I would consider this more of a survey course than any sort of in-depth work. While it does a good job of giving an overview of a great many topics, it doesn't go into any of them with a great deal of depth. It has a lot of the what and how, so to speak, and a bit less of the history and the why. Likewise, while the bibliography appears extensive, one finds that much of it is online, and only a few of the references are prior to works from before about 1995. Part of what I look for when I'm studying is a really good bibliography that will help me to find quality resources on my own. And that includes the works of people who have done important research in the past. Some of the titles that Angelica mentions are good and include things like The Witch Cult in Western Europe by Margaret Alice Murray, which, despite its criticisms, have heavily influenced neo-paganisms, so its inclusion is expected here. Scott Cunningham's The Complete Book of Incense, Oils, and Brews is also included. It's also a classic. There are a few others. Still, I think a bit more research and reference to more of the classic works by authors such as Doreen Valenti, Dion Fortune, Starhawk, or Raymond Buckland could have been included, as they had a good deal to contribute to topics included in this book, and they could have given the reader a better starting point for further research. Criticisms aside, I think that Llewellyn's Complete Book of the Moon is a good starting point for anyone who wants to find ways to incorporate more lunar ritual work into their practice, be it working with lunar goddesses, lunar essences, lunar herbalism, or what have you. The book has a little something for just about anyone, and certainly anyone who wants to dig deeper shouldn't let the lack of a 20-page bibliography stand in their way. In fact, where Angelica references Scott Cunningham, Scott himself references many good authors in his own works. One can go back to the book I reviewed last week, Wicca: A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner, and find what I consider to be a much more classic neo-pagan bibliography. Then again, Angelica was also trying to include references for things like ephemeris tables, moon voidal course data, herbalism, and many other topics. I really don't have insight into the editorial choices that were made in order to keep this book at something fewer than 400 pages. Anyway, at a mere $29.99, it's definitely worth the money, and it's not one that I regret having in my library.
Whence
Next up, in another review, is The Testament of Anne Lee. I grew up on the border of New Hampshire and Maine, and the Shakers were a huge part of the area's history. The Canterbury, New Hampshire Shaker community was still active when I was growing up. It was about 40 miles away, and the Alfred Shaker village was about half that distance away, just north of Sanford, Maine, where I had some friends and relatives whom I would visit frequently. I can't say that I knew a great deal about the Shakers, but I certainly knew of them. Then again, in my hometown of Dover, we also had Quakers, and I didn't know much about them either, but I knew they were there. And both groups had an enormous impact on the area and on the country as a whole. Since I became more involved with the Quakers, understanding the relationship between the Quakers and the Shakers became more important. And understanding my own past involvement with cults has made it more important for me to understand religious movements such as the Shakers, which, given their strict requirements, I can consider them to be a cult, albeit a less harmful cult than many that have existed. When I saw the trailers for The Testament of Anne Lee, I realized this was a film that I needed to see. This 2025 epic historical musical drama is in theaters now, directed by Mona Fastvold, who co-wrote it with Brady Corbett, and starring Amanda Seyfried. It tells the story of Anne Lee, who was the founder of the Shakers in the 18th century in Manchester, England, and their move to New York and New England here in the United States. The supporting cast includes Thomasin McKenzie, Lewis Pullman, Stacey Martin, Tim Blake Nelson, and Christopher Abbott. The story follows the life of Anne Lee from her youth, growing up as the daughter of a blacksmith in Manchester with very spiritual leanings. Her parents were Quakers, but too poor to offer her a meaningful education, and she remained illiterate throughout her life. The film recounts her introduction to a sect of Quakers founded by Jane and James Wardley, known as the Shaking Quakers, who believed that Christ would return in the form of a woman, and Anne proclaimed herself to be that woman. She comes to be known within the sect as Mother Anne. At times, this film is difficult to watch. Some of the scenes depict the brutality with which women, especially women who have been spiritual leaders, have been treated. But it's not only women, it is those who are members of any peace religion. Shakers, Quakers, and conscientious objectors of any type have been jailed and beaten for countless generations. Likewise have those who have preached a gospel that differs from that which is considered orthodox. The parts in this film have been portrayed masterfully, and one is able to feel a deep connection to the characters. Indeed, were there active Shaker communities around today? There is one near Portland, Maine, with 2 or 3 remaining members, but I don't know if they're accepting visitors at this point. My guess is that they are somewhat old now and not looking to revive that way of life. Anyways, were they, I might be tempted to visit and speak to them, not to join them, but to understand more about them. If you want to know more about who Shakers were, if you want to understand more about Anne Lee, if you want to understand how religious movements might get their start, and if you love epic musical films, this is one worth seeing. I do recommend that if you can, you see the 70mm film version. The theater that I saw it in had the digital version, and there were some unfortunate digital artifacts that made the experience a bit less than ideal. I don't know if it was being streamed and there was some data corruption in the stream or what, but I'm certain the 70mm film version would have been stunning. The background audio for this segment I may add some traditional Shaker movement music to the segment, not sure yet. But composer Daniel Bloomberg used original Shaker hymns for the film's music. He took the music to places Shakers would have never dreamed of. I can only imagine a screaming electric guitar in a Shaker meeting room, But then again, I have heard amazing music in Quaker meeting houses, so perhaps it could have happened had the sect survived as more than what it is today. In any case, although it's not a pagan film, I do highly recommend it. It's worth seeing. I'll see if I can add a little bit of music in the recording to the background. It won't be from the film, but it would be actual shaker music. We'll see what happens. I was able to add Some Shaker hymns to the background of that review of the Testament of Anne Lee. And then we heard Wendy Rule with Oblivion from her album Wolf Sky. In our Pagan FM Almanac, not a lot going on this week astrologically. Sunday, the 25th, the first quarter moon in Taurus. Not a whole lot going on. I don't have... when I was doing the show before, I had a whole kind of calendar of events that had... and things that had gone on, and I haven't rebuilt that yet, so I'm in the process of that, so that'll be more complete as time passes. In our herb of the week, I wanted to talk about mugwort, also known as Artemisia, and it's known in a multitude of varieties. The common form, Artemisia vulgaris, is known throughout Europe. Artemisia argi is a Chinese mugwort that's been used in traditional Chinese medicine. Artemisia princeps is known in Korea. But mugwort has been a friend of humans since time immemorial. It's been used in the production of absinthe in the form of Artemisia absinthium, where it was considered to be somewhat hallucinogenic, and in some places absinthe was made illegal. It's been used for culinary purposes. Some are used for soaps or to help with sleep, for menstrual cramps, to treat malaria, or as an abortifacient. Prior to the introduction of hops, mugwort was once used as a bitter for beer, and it's been used to season meats and fish, and for survival purposes, the hairs on the plant can be used as tinder for fire starting. In the United States, mugwort grows mostly as an invasive species, specifically Artemisia vulgaris. Large populations are found in the Northeast, from Maine through New Jersey, and I've seen some around where I live down here in South Jersey, with smaller populations as one moves towards the Midwest. There are also some smaller populations in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and a few in California and Hawaii, at least as of 2020. Mugwort is part of the traditional 9 herbs charm, which I'll quote below. This version of the 9 herbs charm is translated by Joseph S. Hopkins, and I'm trying to remember where it was that I found it, but it is available online. But it goes, remember mugwort, what you brought to pass, what you readied at Regenmeld. You are called Una, that most ancient plant. You defeat 3, you defeat 30, you defeat venom, you defeat air illness, you defeat the horror who stalks the land. And you, waybred plant mother, you're open to the east, yet mighty within. Carts creaked over you, women rode over you. Over your brides bellowed, over your bulls snorted. You withstood it all, and you pushed back. You withstood venom, you withstood air illness, you withstood the horror who travels over the land. Now the plant is called Stoon, she who grows on stone. She defeats venom, she grinds away pain. She is called Steeth, she who withstands venom. She chases away malice, casts out pain. This is the plant that fought against the worm. She is mighty against venom. She is mighty against air illness. She is mighty against the horror who travels over the land. You venom loathe, go now. The less from the great from the less, until both he receives a remedy. Remember chamomile, what you brought to pass, what you accomplished at Alford, that no one should lose their life to disease, since for him chamomile was prepared. Finally, this plant is known as werglu, who a seal sent over sea ridges to aid against venom. These 9 plants defeat 9 venoms. A worm came slithering, and yet he killed no one, for wise Woden took 9 glory twigs and smote the serpent, who flew into 9 parts. Their apple overcame venom. There the worm could never find shelter. Feel and fennel, a most mighty pair, The wise Lord shaped these plants while he, holy, hung in the heavens. He sent them from the 7 worlds, 7 ages of men, for wretched and wealthy alike. She stands against pain, she stands against venom, she is potent against 3 and against 30, against a foe's hand, against great guile, against malice and bewitchment from animal and spirit. Now may the 9 plants do battle against the glory fleers, against the venoms, against the 9 air diseases, against the red venom, against the running venom, against the white venom, against the blue venom, against the yellow venom, against the green venom, against the black venom, against the blue venom, against the brown venom, against the purple venom, against the worm blister, against the water blister, against the thorn blister, against the thistle blister, against the ice blister, against the venom blister. If any venom comes flying from the east, or any comes from the north, or any comes from the west over folk, Christ stood over illness of every kind, yet I alone know water running where 9 serpents guard. Now may all plants arise, seas ebb, all salt water, when I blow this venom from you. Ingredients: mugwort, waybread, open to the east, lamb's cress, venom loathe, chamomile, nettle, sour apple of wood, feel and fennel, old soap. Prepare and apply the salve. Work these plants to dust, then mix them with apple mush. Make a paste of water and ashes. Take fennel and mix the plant into boiling paste. Bathe the wound with an egg mixture, both before the patient applies the salve and after. Sing the above galder over each of the 9 plants. Sing the galder 3 times over the patient. Self-applies the salve, and sing the galder 3 times over the apple. Sing the galder into the patient's mouth. Sing the galder into each of the patient's ears, and before the patient applies the salve, sing the galder into the patient's wound. And there you go. That is mugwort. And I love how you can see how the 9 herbs charm, how it progressed over the ages from Odin to Christ. You don't want to mix, you don't want to miss anybody when you're fighting a disease, I guess. Anyway, we'll hear a little more music, then back to our oppression watch. And then we'll close out the show.
I heard a final melody, a salve for all the pain and grief. The song is ended, but your voice still lingers. The air around me rings with silence. Your laughter's gone, but I can hear. The song has ended, but your voice still lingers. I hear the echo of you in my ear. You may be far, but I feel you near. You burned with light, shines ever on, and I still love you when you're gone. You brought the music to our circle. You made the spirit come to life. The song is ended, but your voice still lingers. I still love you when you're gone. You left a rest that I can't fill, though I sing on to keep the tune. I find my strength in all the memories and all the lyrics left to write. The song has ended, but your voice still lingers. Lingers.
That was Crow Women with Your Voice Still Lingers from their album A Pagan Journey Around the World. And today is January 24th, 2026, and 6 years ago today. So in past, really taught me a lot. She taught me what kind of daughter I could be. And her voice still lingers. So now, let's go on to our oppression watch. And once again, Donald Trump's ICE officers have shot and killed an unarmed civilian in Minneapolis. Of course, the Trump administration blames the person who was murdered. It's what they do. So what happened? A man who was a nurse was filming. He was taken to the ground. Per the Second Amendment, he was carrying a firearm. The gun was taken from him, still holstered, and then he was executed because that is what the Trump administration is now doing. And what does Trump suggest? That this person who was filming was there to assassinate ICE officers. No evidence was offered. He wasn't, as lying Kristi Noem suggests, brandishing a weapon. He had it. That was it. He didn't have it in his hand. It was holstered. He was simply filming, as our First Amendment grants us the right to do. And as our Second Amendment grants us the right to do, he was carrying a firearm. He had a legal permit. It was a valid permit. But according to the Trump administration, apparently, if you're a liberal, the Second Amendment doesn't apply. Instead, if you're a liberal, you're a terrorist, and you deserve to die. So to kind of counter what's going on, I am proposing a ritual, or a spell, if you will. And it's going to consist of two parts, a written part and a verbal part. A part with a written or a verbal part, and a part with essential oils. We all know that certain scents can help to bring calm. We all know that certain words can help to bring calm, to de-escalate. So in part of this, I'm going to be writing intentions with a mix of ink and essential oils. And I'm going to be making an incense or essential oil spray to help create and maintain sacred space. It can be used at home or wherever it is needed. Right now I've got a few supplies, including a dipping pen that I found a few years ago at an antique store. I've got some oils that I'm considering, the main ones being tuberose, palmarosa, dragon's blood, frankincense, and myrrh. I'm also considering adding a bit of lemon and patchouli and jojoba oil as a carrier for a spray, or if you want to use it on the skin. Over the next few days, I'm going to work on certain ratios to get it the way I want, and I'll have the formula for that next week. Also the formula for the ink, because I want to make sure that the ink doesn't separate. Other items that will be needed will be some sort of small notebook, or maybe some cut down index cards or notes or whatever. And those can have the messages written and handed out, and those will be the certain elements, and they can be used to create sacred space at protests, to hand out these little cards when we're at protests and places like that, and to be used to bring calm to these places where things might otherwise escalate. Anyway, we'll listen to one or two more pieces of music and then talk about next week's show and go from there.
I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. And like the flame, I am wild, 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 wild. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, wild, wild. Join in the dance and make it wild. To see a maiden dance around the fire is not so strange, but fire dances around the limbs of this uncommon maid. Be brave enough to burn and you'll be brave enough to fly. Join your sister Solace as she lights the morning sky. I am a firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, 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 wild. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. And like the flame, I am wild, 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 wild. Wonders of the water, air, and earth are all the same. You'll never know wonder like the wonders of the flame. Freely fly as what you are and never walk in shame. You must not fear to blister if you live a life in flame. I am girl and firebird, and solace is my name. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, wild, wild. Join in the dance and make it wild. If you're brave enough to dance, then you are brave enough to fly. Forget what's right and proper, you won't know until you try. If you're brave enough to fly, then you are brave enough to burn. Take my hand and join me in the carnival of dawn. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, wild, wild. Join in the dance and make it wild. Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you dance with me? Sister Sorrow, walk with me. Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you dance with me? Sister Sorrow, walk with me. Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you follow me? Sister Sorrow, dance with me. Morning down. Like a flame, you must be wild. Like a flame, you must be wild.
dapples the green, leaf and bloom before me play. Standing alone, I'm half unseen, half unfilled at dawn of day. Then from the earth you rise in splendor, source of passion, balance and flame, both sun and sky, and I surrender at your feet, my shield and name. Before the twilight falls, you and I are bright and green. Before the future calls, you and I stand in between. Fear is a prison, doubt is a wall. Kiss me before the twilight falls. Before the twilight falls. Before the twilight falls. Dance of meadow, feathers meeting, sing forever the spiral tune. Live the moment, now is fleeting. Join me here, our path is you. So stand with me through joy and tears, testing honor that holds you thrall. Come take my hand, I'll take your fears. One last kiss ere twilight falls. Before the twilight falls, you and I are bright and green. Before the future calls, you and I stand in between. Fear is a prison, doubt is a wall. Kiss me before the twilight falls. Before the twilight falls. Before the twilight falls. Kiss me before the twilight falls.
And that was S.J. Tucker with Firebird's Child from her album Blessings, and Emerald Rose with Before the Twilight Falls from their album Archives of Ages to Come. Next week I'll go over this spell or ritual, not sure what to call it yet, that I'm working on. I don't even have a name for it yet, but I'm hoping to do something that will offer some sort of calm to the world. In our review, I'll be looking at another book by Dion Fortune. This one is her 1930 book, The Training and Work of an Initiate. I'll discuss what's important, what's relevant today, what's possibly dated, possibly dangerous. Looking at why some of what people who wrote 100 years ago are still in many ways important and relevant, but at the same time to be approached with caution. While I'm at it, I want to look at how the period between the 18th to the 20th century produced some really interesting religious movements. Certainly there were some prior, but there was a great deal of religious fervor during this period, with one of my own relatives starting her own religious movement in the Catholic Church. This was also the time when the Shakers, the Christian Scientists, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, the Society of the Inner Light, the Ordo Templi Orientis, the AA, and many others. Is there something about this period of history, or is this the way things always have been? And am I just noticing the weirdness that always goes on because I'm somewhat close to it? Anyway, now let's hear something from Steve McDonald. And I will return next week. Blessings to you all.
and all the things in my life I held so deep must leave me now. But I will be free long after the silence ends the song. I will return, oh, I will return. You'll hear the echoes say, from out of your mind to somewhere in time. I will return one day. Oh, I will return, oh, I will return. You'll hear the echoes say, from out of the night and into the light. I will return one day, and the seas reach out for you, and the skies reach out